Okay, it is 7:03, and I'd like to call to order the Townsend Housing Authority for December 20th. Can I get a roll call, please?
Ellie Cole present.
Laura Schifrin present.
Jess Sexton Duranian present.
Great. And this meeting is being recorded. We'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, 1.5, any additions and deletions to the agenda? I don't have any at this time. Does anyone else?
I don't.
Okay. And 1.6, state representative report.
Madam Chair, I don't have anything for us tonight.
All right, we'll go right into the work session then, under 2.1, which was the housing correction plan, and the 2.1.1, the multifamily bylaws. So I sent out the revised version of those a couple weeks after our last meeting. I know we wanted to send those over to planning. So I don't know if anybody had any further comments based on the last version I sent. No?
No comment.
No, I looked at what you put in. That's exactly what we had talked about. So I say go for it. Let's send it over to.
Great. I think, Jess, we talked about last time maybe doing a cover letter. Do you think we should still do that before and send it over to planning with a cover letter?
I think so.
I think so too.
Do you want me to draft something?
If you don't mind, that'd be
Okay.
great. A little something for it.
Madam Chair, I'll draft it, send it over to you, make changes, and then you can go from there.
Sure. Yep. And I believe we talked about possibly planning and I'm just going to check our minutes. I think we sort of talked about a couple places to go. Planning and ZBA
And the housing trust.
trust. So to those three.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that was really the biggest action on that at this point. I think otherwise we're in pretty good shape. And then I don't know if it's something that maybe we can request a kind of, I know we've tried to do this in the past, but maybe a joint meeting once people have had a chance to look at them and we can discuss together.
You want it sometime in January?
Yeah. So what I was told last time is that we shouldn't meet jointly until we had a land use coordinator. So we were kind of shut down last time we tried to set this up. I don't know if you think that will happen again or if we need to wait further past January.
Well, may I speak freely here? We've been operating on this I've personally been operating on this for 8 years. Of those 8 years, we haven't had a land use coordinator, and I personally am not comfortable with waiting for a land use coordinator, because if we are waiting, then we may be waiting for a year or so. So I personally feel like we should move forward.
I would agree. Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
Right. So when I send these out, I'll make a request and see if we can set up a joint meeting as well.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion on that?
I'm just looking at the notes. Nope, that's all that we wanted to do is to send it to there. So no, okay, so we're good.
Okay, 2.2, discuss the housing trust, the housing trust and housing authority joint efforts. And so I reached out to try to get us a joint meeting with housing trust as well. I know that they're meeting with town council, I think mid-January, so they requested to wait until after that meeting. But I'll see if I can try to get a joint meeting on the books for after their mid-January meeting.
Okay, for a joint.
Do we know who's going to be on the trust, considering that the chair resigned?
So she told me that it was going to transfer to Veronica, and that I should contact her for a joint meeting, is what I was told, but I don't know beyond that.
Were any of the vacancies on the trust filled? Yeah, you know what? Okay. Yeah, maybe we should wait until after there is a discussion with the trust by, I guess, the town administrator and legal. We'll just wait. Or no?
Well, I haven't seen any vacancies posted for the trust. And a vacancy needs to be posted by the trust. I would assume, just like Jody, would the trust have to follow municipal, what we do, or how does that work?
I would think so, unless they're getting clarification from town council. But there's still a town entity, a town board, right?
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, then they have to follow the same rules.
Right. I do believe that they have to follow, but again, that would be something, I mean, if there's a vacancy on the board, it needs to be posted. And I don't know if it has to be posted here or just posted. I would assume that it would be posted to the town clerk, since it's part of, in part and parcel to the housing authority. The housing authority is the one that created the trust. And the trust is a fiduciary of the housing authority. I mean, that's how we had set it up. It's my understanding, and I hope it's not my understanding alone, is that the trust really is the fiduciary of the housing authority, and any planning and any decisions that need to be made need to come through the housing authority before it goes to the trust. I mean, the trust really is just voting on the monies involved in it. Am I correct in that?
I believe that to be the case. I'm sorry. Jody, did you want to say something?
Just that I'm on the town website and it looks like there are vacancies posted for the trust as of November.
And so then there's another one today. As of the letter that the town clerk sent to us.
Yeah, this one looks like it looks like there's just one posting. So maybe they haven't posted for Jones. This might have been, I think, Mike Frosco left. So this was maybe that posting.
Um,
So I'm going to assume they're going to put up another one or just change this one to 2. Because now it seems they're short 2 members.
I forgot how many it was set up with. Do you remember, Chaz?
There's 5.
5.
There's 5. So currently then they would have a quorum to have a joint meeting. I still prefer to wait until after their meeting with town council.
Okay. So if we're going to wait to talk in regards to that, then what would be our next steps for the land that was transferred over to them, Madam Chair? How do you want to deal with that?
Well, I mean, I think there's 2 pieces, right? If they're really the fiduciary piece, is that like we can still, it seems to me that we can still move forward on our efforts on trying to plan for what those could be, right? And kind of that piece forward. And we may talk with them about what that means for them, right? But I don't see why we can't continue efforts unless I'm incorrect.
If I may, Madam Chair, and I still want go back to why we created the trust. And the trust was so that we could raise funds, take donations, and also receive land to be used for affordable housing. And so the trust was the receipt. And originally they were just to meet 3 times a year, quarterly or
4 times a year.
4 times a year. Okay, quarterly. So, and then basically just give a report back to the housing authority of the assets that they're holding. And then we would have discussions of what those assets could be used for. That was the whole point of the trust, because we didn't want to use tax dollars. We didn't have any money. We don't. So the assets become the seed. Somewhere along the line, I mean, you have people who resigned because it became like a monthly meeting or every other week or something, and that was not the point of the trust. So until that is resolved, and I really think we need clarification so that there's an understanding between the two bodies.
Correct. And there's also $100,000 that was part of ARPA money that is in the trust right now. And that was put in there to help us move forward with our mission. So that's where I'm concerned, is that that money was supposed to be our seed money to be able to move forward on what was given to the Affordable Housing Trust. So I 100% agree with you, Lori, that that's what we had designed that for. The funds that were asked through ARPA to be put in there was to assist us with what we have been planning for the past year now, Madam Chair. The whether we do pocket neighborhoods, whether we do that was part of our reasoning behind really getting behind the age-restricted housing bylaw and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, we didn't do much effort other than to be behind those because that is furthering our effort for affordability for housing in Townsend. So, I believe that with our work that we'll be submitting to both the planning and zoning and the housing trust in regards to what our thoughts are should be the forefront of discussions on what to do with this property. I mean, I just see them as the trust just being the fiduciary, the holding company for the funding, so we don't have to go to town meeting every time the housing authority wants to be able to move forward.
That's correct. That's exactly why the trust was formed.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing on any of that. I guess my point is that I don't see why we can't move forward on the land that was transferred now that it's in there to start moving forward on planning for that property without.
Right. Well, my answer was very long-winded, but it really meant I agree.
Okay.
So if we, going back to the objections, if you will, at the town meeting where the properties were transferred to the trust, one particular parcel was brought to light as a good piece for Fish and Game or Fish and Wildlife or whatever entity that is at the state. Mm-hmm. And it was also brought to light at that time that certainly it would be a good idea that if it wasn't anything that we could build on, that would bring more funds to the trust. Mm-hmm. So without dissecting each property right now, that's the first one that comes to my mind that we should try to deal with Fish and Wildlife about.
Which was this on?
Oh, I want to say it's like a 10-acre parcel or something, or
That
was it
was-
a larger one?
Um,
I know we had,
Seaver Road? I forget. Joe, did you remember?
Nope, but if you give me 1 second, I bet I can find what I sent to the selectmen. Wrong one.
I saw your face when you knew that I was going to go to you.
I think while Jody's looking at that, I just want to kind of maybe bring us back around, and then we can keep going. Is just that if we're, I think we're all in agreement on how the trust is working. I guess my thought is then that maybe we should just send our refinements to the zoning bylaws to planning and ZBA, as we are not tasking the trust with reviewing those or asking them to review them as a fiduciary body only, but let me know if you feel otherwise.
We'll just send it to you're saying just to planning and zoning?
Yeah.
I agree with you. Okay.
I mean, unless we're asking them for, input in terms, I mean, of course, it's welcome, right? But unless we are asking them to physically review them and give us comments, and it sounds to me like in the purpose for what they've been created, that is what we are asking for in this case.
Right. So we're asking for the input of planning for the planning side of it and zoning for the zoning portion of it, as far as a bylaw, pushing new bylaws forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. The housing authority wouldn't have anything to do with that. My thought is just for transparency and visibility.
Yeah, and we could still do that. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page, I guess, and make sure it doesn't feel like a task that we're asking them to do.
I can put that in the letter too. Is everybody in agreement with
I'm
that?
in agreement, yeah.
Mhm. We had these pieces identified in the HPP too, didn't we?
I believe so, yes.
See if I can find that. Where they are in there.
I have my work computer. I don't have my town computer with me.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
struggling to get in right now, and my laptop doesn't have all of my organized files. But forgive me, I know one of them was off the top of my head. There was a piece on Dudley that was a big piece.
That was 11 acres there.
Yeah, and then I think it was Seaver.
There is a big piece off Wallace and
Yeah.
uh,
Because I think it was 4 altogether. Is that correct? Because I want to say I sent 2 different memos. And I know it was in August, but of course,
There were 6 properties transferred.
was it 6? Okay.
wasn't there a small one on Hames that seemed like it'd be kind
Yeah.
of, we talked about this a little bit in terms of like Habitat for Humanity again or something. It was a good kind of single parcel, right?
Correct. Yes. The other one, if I remember correctly, had, and this is what Lori was saying, I think it has some wetlands in the back, and that would be probably a parcel that we would want to look into partitioning that off so a portion goes to Mass Fish and Wildlife, because they do own Fish and Wildlife around in land around that particular parcel. And the piece that I don't know if there's a house on it. I think there is, that we could also use to build maybe a 55 and older building there at that particular location.
What was the address on that?
I forget what parcel it is.
I don't remember one with a house on it that was transferred.
There was a house on it. I can't remember what it was. Or there can be a house. I can't remember, Lori, exactly which
Okay.
it is. But there is Fish and Wildlife owned property around that would be able to be added to. And if they were willing to purchase that money would be seed money for one of our other projects.
All right.
So I see the map from the HPP. They don't have them listed, but I can pull the map up just so you can see where they are. At least so we can look at those. I'm just gonna sign in on my other computer. So Hartley, if you're listening, lend in another person here.
Sure, give me a second here.
Thank you.
There were a number of votes on that, Jody, because the recommendation came from Town Properties to the Board of Selectmen. Or Town Properties to the Board of Selectmen to go to the Housing Authority, which recommended it to the trust. I don't know, that whole circle. But it started there, and so I don't know if you can find the warrant article.
Okay, nope, that's a recommendation. Hang on one second. I just got a lot of boards that send memos to I know I have, it's here somewhere.
Oh, and Hartley, if you could also allow screen sharing.
Okay. Screen share who?
The second Courtney without the last name.
Oh,
Thank you.
didn't see her sneak in.
I know.
Might have to schedule you for a therapy session there, Courtney.
Oh yeah.
I thought I was first.
Yes, you're always first, Lori.
Oh, funny. You guys can't actually see this. You're seeing this. Hold on. Over here. Okay. So this is the ones in the pink were the ones that were identified, but I only see 5. So I don't. Maybe if you guys remember. So this is the one up by Dudley. Right. This is the Wallace Hill one and the Haynes one that I was talking about. West Elm and Blood. Is that one?
No, I think it's that one that your pointer is on.
This one
Yes.
down here. This is the one with the wetlands, Chaz?
I think, yes.
So the purple, let's see. The blue is an aquifer overlay district and the purple is a groundwater protection overlay, just as we're looking at this one in particular.
Yeah, so that must be the one that they're talking about, Fish and Wildlife.
South Row Road, yes, that's it.
Oh yeah, that's the one behind Timberley Park where we did try to do some testing. This goes
Right.
back to 10 years ago anyway, or more.
So this is
Oh,
the
you
one.
know why I couldn't find this memo? Because we did it with, I did it through Town Properties. The Town Properties said, so the 6 parcels are South Row Road. That's, I can give you the parcel ID if you'd like those. But it's South Row Road, Dudley Road, Wallace Hill / Haynes. And then a parcel on Haynes, West Elm, and Blood Road.
So that's the number 2 and, or sorry, yeah, 3 and 4 that you talked about, right? That's number 2, Dudley.
Yeah, well, I can give you one of the parcel IDs. You know what? Why don't I just send this to you guys right now? That will save us a lot of time.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So I guess from here, it might make sense for us to start, I guess, just brainstorming about some thoughts about these, right? I mean, we've kind of talked about the one that possibly transferring or seeing if we can get some money for, right, on South Row.
Do we engage in MRPC in any of this, Lori? Would they be part of the planning on this?
We did not, to my knowledge, that I remember.
I'm saying, can we?
Oh, I'm sure we could ask anything and see what they say. Karen Chapman might be the best one to call for what we might be requesting.
So I mean, we have two things going on. We have the bylaw changes that we submitted.
Yeah.
And Madam Chair, do you want to kind of like set a punch list on what we want to do going forward so that after the first of the year, we have a focus on where we're going?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So on our housing production plan, didn't we have a punch list on that, on what we wanted to do?
We did, and that was part of like where this whole thing had started, even on the bylaws, was that we want to start to talk about some of the initiatives that we want to move forward from that original list from the housing production plan. So we do have that here. So we could take a look at this again and kind of see what we want to tackle, going into 2023 from this list. And I do have it up here if you'd like me to pull it up.
Sure.
Okay, can you guys see that? Okay. So this was those five, I guess, general categories that we had, or three general categories that we'd set up with, 19, it was around 19 initiatives specifically.
Yep.
And so this first part, which is in the planning and zoning, maybe we can just take a walk through these and see what people think about them for 2023. So number one was the considering amendments to the accessory apartment provisions to remove affordability requirements and create a by right option. Number two was working with Board of Health to investigate alternative and innovative individual or shared wastewater treatment systems and potential regulatory changes to create more flexibility with the subsurface sewage disposal regulations in areas of minimal environmental constraints. I feel like we talk about this one a lot, that it feels like something that might be worth thinking about more.
Yeah, that's the one that we were thinking of creating for especially the larger parcel, the 11-acre parcel.
I'll highlight them as potentials if you guys feel like they are. Number three, considering amendments to zoning regulations to create more flexibility for new housing development in areas with minimal environmental constraints.
That's kind of what we're doing with what we're sending to the planning and zoning.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Okay.
that's one that kind of already. Number 4 is adopt local guidelines for development applications for the local initiative program.
So that is something that we would definitely need to be focused in regards to our conversation last time. We talked about coupling with another area. I think we talked about Fitchburg. Was that correct? Joining in with Fitchburg Housing Authority, or even working with Pepperell Housing Authority. I think that might be our better option. They already have a housing authority that's quite active. Groton has an active housing authority, and maybe we can develop some sort of regional plan with them and be able to share resources. I know that there was somebody from Pepperell who was interested in helping us.
Yeah.
Wasn't it, Lori?
Yeah, I told you about that because I met her professionally, and as we got to talk, she's the one that told me that she ran the Pepperell Housing Authority, and so we had a lot of conversations between us, and she said that she could do something regionally, but that she worked with
The HCD.
it was a state agency.
Yeah.
And of course the trust will allow us to do, well, something versus nothing, because in Pepperell, they actually had buildings that they owned that they turned into affordable housing, which is then how she became the manager of, or, ran the program of there.
Right.
But she had said that's part-time, and so she could be doing something regionally. Her name escapes me right now, but she's in a file in my office. So that's a question to ask Karen too,
Yeah.
if they could help us regionalize with Pepperell. I don't know if Pepperell is in the MRPC. I don't remember them as a name. But who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. Is Groton?
I don't, it's more like we have Shirley, Air, Harvard, and West, and the cities and West. We have Lancaster, we have Sterling. I don't remember Pepperell or Groton, though, as a participant,
Mhm.
But I could try to find out if I have any brain power during the day. I'll try to send Karen a email tomorrow.
Groton's in it.
But Pepperell isn't.
Pepperell isn't, but Groton is.
Oh,
Groton has a very active housing authority, and Fran is the one that's been running it. She's been very helpful to me with a lot of resourcing there.
okay.
I think Natalie, would you be interested in looking at those towns and seeing who has a housing authority that's
Yeah.
active?
I can do that.
And then we can set up a list on who to contact with that. Because I think if we go regional, we'll have a better, especially with the local initiative program, because as it stands now, Jody and I have been in communication in regards to people who have an affordable or options for affordability, and they want to have information and to be able to help somebody fill out the application and go through the application process who has already done it or is familiar with it, I think would be a big help for us. Just my thoughts.
I mean, it seems like we could get traction regionally too, possibly, just in terms of, just help trying to get things off the ground, right?
Mhm. Well, in that way, we don't have to recreate the wheel, number one, but number two is, if there's existing workforce there and they're willing to regionalize with us to just take on some of our tasks, it would kind of save us all some headaches in the long run.
Mhm. Okay, so Natalie, you can maybe report back with us in 2023 on. Okay, number 5, conduct a planning, a planning area study to investigate the possibility of the creation of a 40R district in 2 villages and along the Route 119 corridor.
Now, that was that brown area on the map, right? If I remember correctly. Yeah,
Right in the middle there.
yeah. That definitely would be something that we would need to work with a land use coordinator to do.
Mhm.
Or a town planner, actually.
Yeah.
We ever find one.
I hate typing on a screen in front of everyone. It's brings out my to do this.
Well, if it makes you feel better, you just watched me struggle for a long time trying to find that memo.
Yes, my spelling's always something to be desired. Okay.
Good job, Jody. I see. Yeah, those are the 6 parcels. Of course, that was the recommendation from Town Properties. Not, but I'm positive that all 6 were at the annual town meeting.
Okay. Number 6 is considering zoning amendments to allow development of affordable housing on non-conforming lots. I think we've touched a little bit on this on some of the bylaw things where we added things like the hammerhead lots and others. Obviously, it's not particular to affordable on some of those, but I think we've kind of started to touch on this one.
Okay.
Bylaw changes. Number 7 is consider adopting inclusionary zoning bylaw based on a study evaluating options and identifying the best practices.
Yeah, that's something that we definitely need a land use coordinator for.
Have there been any applications on that?
I haven't heard anything. We're sitting in the dark.
I know your lights keep going off over there. Okay. Number 8, study options for compliance with the new MBTA communities requirements, which I know is on our agenda here.
Yeah.
Which
We can go back to that or go forward, however you want to. I don't even know if we're doing anything with that, Jody. Do you know anything about that?
I think last time we talked, there was a possibility that we were no longer considered, right? But we were still listed on there. Is that what we were talking about?
Well, I know Mike was doing a lot of work on that before he left. And to my knowledge, either, well, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think Townsend was taken off the possibility list.
I don't know that. That I don't believe that that's the case. But I think that the only thing that I do know is that Mike's letter that extended our need to pass the bylaw was accepted. Beth would know, Jody, was accepted, and we have until 2025, which in my mind means nothing but a delay. You know, we got a delay of having to pass the bylaw. You know, it's so hypocritical. I can't even get into it, because it's like you have to pass this bylaw, but you really don't have to do anything. But in order to get certain grant monies, you have to pass this bylaw. And then you get a letter that's approved extending the fact that you have to pass the bylaw. So what does that mean?
That's, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a whole, and I would guess to say that Mike spent hours on drafting whatever letter it was for us to get approved for the delay. It's like bureaucracy. You're buried under paperwork that goes nowhere, but people get paid for that. Okay, I'm off my soapbox.
Okay.
We are still an MBTA community.
Yes, I just looked this up. We are under small town now. But we are still on the website.
So we have to develop
You have to pass that bylaw.
to pass the bylaw, but we don't have to act upon it.
Yeah, part of the hypocrisy. But at any rate, Jody, you can get that approval letter from Beth so that Housing Authority has it in their file as well. And I don't know. What happened with it as a small town was that some of the what was required of an affiliate was reduced if you were a smaller town, but you still have to do some of it. It's just a reduced amount.
Okay.
Okay. Number 9, investigate the feasibility of promoting smaller developments on several parcels owned by the Housing Trust. So that's what we were just talking about. Okay. So that seems like something that obviously should stay on our list for next year.
Yep. And we could even move that up. That's why I wanted to look at this, because this is something that we can use to kind of prioritize everything.
Yep. Number 10, create a process to maintain an updated inventory of tax title properties and promote housing development on tax title land.
Are those the ones that are, what exactly does that mean, Jody? Tax title properties are what? Properties that their people owe taxes on?
Yeah, that is usually the depending on who the tax collector is, they auction off usually the lien, not the land.
Right.
The last 3, I'm gonna say, tax collectors have not taken much for the town. They're selling the liens as opposed to, it takes a lot for the town to take land or houses. A lot of
Okay.
time, I guess I would say. Because they're mostly looking to get money. But that's a long way of saying, when they do an auction, they're mostly selling the liens. And then if nobody buys these particular land, then the town will start to do the legwork of taking the parcel. That's how we have a lot of these. What was the one, Lori, that we're always talking about, Warren Road? That was one that was tax title. But again, the majority of the time, the tax collector is just trying to get paid as
Yeah.
opposed to get the land.
So that particular one, well, no, the one on Warren Road, the town already owns.
Right. They've owned that one for a while, but like I said, in the time I've been there, they haven't, I don't believe, maybe they started the process to take some. But again, it's mostly the liens. So I don't know that the tax title would help in
Yeah,
this
well,
particular.
Was it our, oh no, it wasn't our meeting. Was it a town properties meeting that the?
It was, yeah, it was town properties. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we decided at that meeting that she would work in conjunction with us and let us know when she was close to doing something
Yeah.
rather than us finding out after the fact. Because there were people in town that felt if they had known about it, that they could get the money to the town and then maybe take title or help the people, who were having the problem. But in a few years back, it happened twice, I guess, where some people could have been helped and weren't helped because of the way the town did it, and town properties didn't know about it. So that's what I got from the conversation when she came there. I haven't heard anything since from her. But she said that it was 3 or 4 parcels that she was looking at. And she would keep us posted. Maybe you could put a bug in her ear and see where that is.
Well, this is to create a process. So I think that, that's definitely something we could do relatively quickly, is to create a process to be notified of this stuff. So we could put that on the 2023 punch list, right?
I already have a list of that. Well, I shouldn't say Town Properties already has a list of town-owned properties that I can send to you guys if you can look. It has conservation, it has water. Obviously, you're not interested in those, but there is a section for the vacant land.
Yeah. So we just need, I'm just saying for this, for what we're doing right now, is we just need to create a process. So it would be something that we would, we'd probably do what you said, Jody, but we just need to have a formal process and then bring it to a meeting and blah, blah, blah. So we'll figure that out. But it's something we can develop in 2023.
Yeah, just a little more communication between the departments.
Yeah.
Everything that's land use should be informed. So town properties, housing authority, planning, zoning, they should all be informed of what the status is in the town of what's available to do something with.
Yeah, it's something like it could get yearly too. And when you come to me with it and, look at that list again yearly and see if there's an opportunity, at least if it's coming to us, right?
Mhm.
I wonder if it would be worth, and not, just to think about, I guess, is to maybe do a joint meeting with Town Properties. And then have Melissa, the treasurer collector, come in again, just to, like you said, do the process and kind of, the last meeting we had with Town Properties, we talked about it, but like you said, kind of put a bug in her ear and just remind her that this is going to be the process going forward, that you need to get, like you said, more departments or more people aware of the situation before it's already said and done and people are mad that their names are in the paper.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's something to put on one of our agendas for 2023.
Number 11, investigate feasibility to develop veterans housing. I know you guys have been down this road on this list.
There's a long and bumpy road in the country.
Mhm.
How, now, do you remember she said the time frame we're looking at 5 years, did she say?
Um,
When we developed this, I think it was 5 years.
yeah, because I think this is, these are what they do. There's another, hold on, there's another like, yeah, there's kind of, this is the, yeah, it's 2023, 24, 25, 26, 27.
Okay. And what did we put down for that for when we were going to look at it? Oh, look, and we did THA, land use coordinator. Geez, we were ahead of ourselves. We already did all this.
I know.
We're so efficient. We're so efficient, we forgot we did it. That's 10, 11, there you go.
Is,
Veteran housing, 27. I knew that was out.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I'll go back to the other list, but we can pop back to this one at all, just so my notes are in the same spot here. Okay, so number 12, continue to seek CDBG funds to preserve and maintain older existing housing stock through the local rehab program.
So I know that it was discussed at a Board of Selectmen meeting that we were looking into the next round of what are those grants called, Lori?
For technical assistance?
No, the other ones, the block grants.
Yeah, it's the community block development grants, right? For
Correct.
the housing rehabs and stuff.
Yep. So do we want to be able to jump into that and assist other boards to be, to basically write the housing portion of that grant, because there will be other portions of that grant that they would be doing of the block grant. So that might be coming up, and I can't remember when. I think it's sometime in the summer or in the fall that it's due. So we might want to see if we can find a timeline on that, if we wanted, what the timeline is, and B, what involvement we want to do. Is it if it's a rehab program? I think we should look into rehab program and or fuel assistance. And I'd also like to add substance abuse to that as well. I might defray some costs of what some of our EMTs are experiencing.
You said rehab and substance abuse there, Jeff?
Timeline of what their involvement. Yes, the housing rehab, fuel assistance, and substance use.
I'm just gonna at least put that on the 2023, at least for investigation, so that we keep it on the list. Okay. Okay, 13, produce educational information to promote the ADUs as a housing option. So I think this is probably, could be worth doing, right? I know we've talked a little bit about how do you apply, how do you get, how do you get on it? There's been some discussion, I think, and some confusion around will they do this, right? We've heard it kind of already.
Mhm.
So it seems like that's something that would be worth doing.
Yeah. And I think that that's one of those ongoing things.
Yeah.
That it doesn't start and stop at a certain time. It's just going to be ongoing.
But we can keep it on the 20, at least the list here to start moving the discussion ahead more.
Okay.
All right. Collaborate regionally with neighboring towns and the MRPC to provide information to promote community understanding of housing needs and opportunities in the regulatory framework of 40B.
I think we can couple it with what we were talking about of looking to look into us finding regional partners.
Um, 15, consider adopting the Community Preservation Act to provide funding for community preservation, including eligible community housing initiatives.
That's the CPA. I think we need to talk with the town administrator about this because this is something that I think it's on the radar, and I think we should be moving the radar forward on that particular topic. So we can discuss with the TA on what our involvement can be on that, and if you guys agree with that.
Yeah.
Because if somebody's going to write or if somebody's going to put together the Community Preservation Act, we should be able to be part of that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Number 16, ensure continued funding for the reinstituted land use coordinator position. I think we know where that is at the moment. So we can keep going.
Well, actually, on that number 16, I know that they are, the selectmen have agreed to add, I think it was the grant writer the grant writing position as part of the job description for it. So now the land use coordinator is 40 hours.
What does that position pay?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
Number 17, create regular predictable funding source for the Affordable Housing Trust and a 5-year action plan to enhance the trust's effectiveness.
And that would be something we need to work with the housing trust.
Yeah.
Which really reinforces why we need to be communicating with them so that we're all on the same page.
It looks like the land use coordinator is being advertised for about 58,000.
Okay. Number 18, develop and maintain relationships with local and regional developers to pursue collaborative initiatives for housing production.
I would love to hear of how we should be able to do this, because that's something that we're going to need to do. We're not going to have people say, hey, you've got a great community, I want to work there. I think we really need to market ourselves and find a way that we can really get people to help us out with it.
Number 19 is designate the housing authority as the local HPP oversight entity and perform annual review status of HPP goals and strategies. Look at, we're starting this one right now. Add it to our agenda for December next year.
There you go.
Okay, so I think we got quite a few things slated here just through the discussion. So I think it'd be good to, at our next meeting, maybe we can try to prioritize these even by, what we're getting started right, quickly in 2023, because I'm afraid with, not that all of these aren't good. I just want to make sure that we're not talking about them the same way every time that we're, taking action on some of these, really moving them forward.
I agree. And then we can, at the end of each meeting, we can say the next meeting, we're going to be doing this, and then we can piece off who's doing what, if somebody needs to bring research or whatever, so that we're prepared for that in the meeting.
Yes, I agree. Yep. These are very rough notes, but if you want, I can circulate this quick little markup just so we have it.
I think that's great.
I'll clean them up a little bit so they're not really bad spelling. Okay, so I think maybe Jody, maybe you can craft the agenda for next time, kind of around some of these things, so we kind of get it on the list, and we hopefully have a good discussion then on how we're going to start to tackle these.
So would you want to, of these 6 properties, you want to name one that we can all kind of focus on and look at, so for the next meeting?
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Do you guys have do you guys have a preference on the start, or is this something like, we started talking about this one in terms of getting funding to maybe do things on other ones? Is that something you guys want to think about, or do you want to jump into one that's more developable?
I think we try to sell, if I may, that we try to sell to the one with the wetlands, that to Fish and Wildlife, and see if they're interested, how much. And if it's not something that we think is viable, then we move on.
Yep.
But that, it's been brought up since the annual meeting when we had the vote. So I think that's one that should be acted upon and get an answer.
So that's the South Row run.
Mm-hmm.
South Row Road one.
Yeah.
3 times fast.
That's a hard one.
Yeah. I mean, just move on it, send a letter to them, see if they're interested in this parcel ID. And if they are, how much are they willing to pay for it? And, it's either going to be yes or no. And then we'll know. We don't have to talk about it again. Just my thoughts.
So who wants to do it?
Does anyone have you ever talked to anybody in Fish and Game? Anybody here?
I have not. She has come before. I don't know her name. Is her name Anne? I want to say she's been before planning board.
I want to say it's Ann Gagnon.
Oh, sounds familiar.
I think you're right. She's been in front of the selectmen too.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Does the state typically pay?
yeah.
I think some.
Wildlife, yeah.
Okay.
They buy land.
I can, let me talk to Vicky, because I know she talks to her a bit, and see if we can get the ball rolling on that.
Or even if she could point us in the right direction on really whether or not they're interested, would they be interested in it?
seem that, Leslie thinks that they are, Veronica thinks that they are. So instead of talking about it anymore, just let's find out if they are.
Yeah. And if they are interested, Madam Chair, just let me know and I'll schedule to talk with town council about what our next steps would be.
Okay. Yeah, Jody, you and I maybe connected it if you find out her contact information, and we can try to report next time.
Okay.
Look at how Witch Brook is spelled. It's BRROK. We missed that in our. Move it up a little bit more.
Oh yeah, look oops.
Who was out editing that? Come on, folks.
I know. Okay, since that one's kind of a single action one way, do you guys want to think about another one too for next time that we can discuss?
I don't know what we're going to do, Chaz. I don't know what your thoughts are. We haven't talked about it in so long. But the Dudley Road parcel, I mean, I guess we have to have more money behind us to really do anything with that. Or I know at one time we were going to try to trade with the state.
Yeah.
Vote on that.
Well, we were looking to, when I was talking with Sheila, if you look at that directly, Dudley Road, where that flat piece is, that state owned right there. We were looking to see if they would take that 11 acres and swap it with land in there so that we could develop on the other side of the street.
So in this area.
Yeah, and that other side of the street is pretty much sandy soil and would have access to town water.
Correct.
So
Mhm.
yeah. That's probably the other one we tried to get an answer on somehow.
Yeah, I think the only pushback that we got is that that development that's on the left-hand side there, that swath of land that's there, they didn't want that developed. So we were thinking of just mainly developing in the back part of the, in through there. But part of it is there's a little brook that it's a trickle brook, but there's water that's there that we got to be careful of as well.
Did this, I could be misremembering. I didn't know if Mike started this conversation with the land swap and they were perhaps not interested because of parking, but I don't know if I'm accurate on that.
Well, Mike didn't really have, I don't know why he had that conversation, because that was something that we were looking at and it was something that I was working with the state rep with.
Okay.
So Mike inserted himself in that conversation if that's indeed what he did. But
And I could be wrong, if we're being honest, I might be misremembering and thinking of a different parcel, but I thought that's what.
I had a conversation with Senator Cronin in regards to this, and his initial thought was it's something that we would definitely look into because it is part of the governor's initiative to increase housing in the state. And if it was to be able to swap land to increase housing production, then he said that that's something that would probably go through the legislature without a problem.
Okay.
That
Good.
was my interpretation of what had happened. But if Mike did look into it, I mean, it's not something that we're aware of. At least I wasn't aware of it.
And that's what I remember as well. But we have a new governor, so I'm not sure if that's going to be the same thing.
This is why sometimes we have to move when we have an opportunity to move. My other thoughts to answer your question, Lori, is that part of the reason why we're looking at those bylaw changes and that Courtney was doing all that wonderful work in regards to pocket neighborhoods and all of that kind of stuff is that I personally think that we'd be better looking at mixed use. I would like to see some veteran housing in there, some family housing. I would like to see a transitional building to be able to put people who want to move into senior housing but are on the wait list, but they need to get out of their current property. Transitional housing would be to a year to 18 months to maybe 2 years before they can move into the senior housing, just so that they can stay in town and not have to, move out of town just to wait to get a senior housing kind of thing. And that we could also have a section for 55 and older as well. That dovetails into the us talking with the Board of Health for shared sewerage for that particular area as well. Because it's a shame that we didn't still have the sewerage for the school out there, because that was the thought of being able to share that large capacity sewerage plant that they had there.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's a bigger one, Courtney, that we probably would need to devote some time and effort on. As much as I would love to be able to pick up that conversation, I think let's try to pick off some of the easier stuff that we can do.
Yep.
The lower hanging fruit, so to speak.
Yeah. This is the one that I was kind of wondering if, remember when we had that woman just a little while ago, earlier this year, that came and talked to us from Habitat for Humanity?
Mm-hmm.
And just because this one's a smaller, I mean, obviously it's not super small, but just trying to think of, maybe there's a possibility with something like that.
To do like what, like a affordable one
we-
home or?
Yeah, see if we could partner with them. I mean, it'd be nice to do more than one, but we'd have to see what we could. Let me see. I'm going to try to find exactly how big that one is.
Is that the Haynes Road one?
Yeah, it's one of the Haynes Road ones. So it's 3 acres right now. So, but maybe with some of our multifamily, like, bylaw changes, one, maybe we could get in a two family there or something, or more, right?
Because it's 3 acres.
This 3 acres.
No, I don't see water there either. Or
No,
is there water there?
It's not wet back here. I only know that because I live over here and walk this piece a lot.
I think it's probably more ledge.
Yeah, that looks like rocky. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good like slope down into here, or down towards Haynes.
So what part would be buildable? The
I mean,
lower part there?
That's what we'd have to find out, right? We're gonna have to do a little investigating on it, but
Now, those are privately owned around it.
yeah. There you go. So there's a house here and a house here.
Hmm. Look at how lush the trees are in that one plot.
There's a lot of pines.
And that slopes down, it looks. So
Yeah,
what about that top part up there? Is that flat?
I think that this is a pretty good, like, I think the whole thing up here, I don't know exactly where this line is, but from what I recall, it's a pretty good slope downwards here. And I think it gets flatter towards this end. probably, you know, similar to where that house is lined up, right?
Well, I think we would probably need to do a site walk, and I don't think we'd want to do it in the middle of winter.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's with no snow, we'll be okay, right? Because right now you can kind of see everything. But yeah, at some point it would probably be good to take a peek at it. There's a Boy Scout that runs right here that you can get up back here too, pretty easily. But yeah, we could probably walk this.
Mhm. So do we want to tackle that for our next meeting? Anything on that?
Well, it sounds like we need to, like, walking it might be the first step, right? Just to see how we all feel about it and where to go with it. But I think we should maybe just keep it on the list to discuss.
What's on Blood Road? Is that a teeny tiny little piece? That's West Elm.
Yeah, I think this one's blood.
Is it? Okay.
Hold on, I'm gonna get over on this other maps. I can find it. Oh, is there two pieces? 1, 2?
Looks like it.
Looks like it's this one. Yeah, this one and this one. They both are. So. Oh, why is it so small? This one says 4.7 acres. I think that one says 2.3. Has anybody been around here? You know if it's wet?
I don't know. I'd have to walk it.
I mean, maybe our next thing is to just try to find a time to walk these, right? Like a couple of them. Just so we're more familiar when we have the discussions, right?
I'm okay with that.
I mean, maybe we can find I'll have a hard time during the week in the winter, you know, when there's light out, but maybe we can find a Saturday or Sunday and take a morning walk. And you know, until it gets light enough out later, but
I'm okay with that.
okay. I mean, I think it would be good, I think, for all of us, right?
I would love to if I could walk.
Oh my God.
I'll video it, Lori.
Yeah, yeah. Slow but sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Lori, do you have a recovery time in the next couple months? I think it's going to be a while.
I Googled it and it was 6 to 12 weeks or 16 weeks or could be a year, but
Yeah.
I'm moving along pretty good.
Good.
I think it was because I was so active before, you know. So it's sturdy. It's just that the pelvic is sturdy. I just couldn't walk because of the fractures. So, but it's much better than 3 weeks ago. So
Good.
Good.
I figure I'm a week ahead now. I'm hoping to be 2 weeks ahead of any prognosis.
Are you okay if we go out and take a walk without you and report back?
Sure.
I don't want to exclude you, but
No,
We can always-
Chad could video it,
We'll live stream it.
The live stream.
live stream it. Okay.
There you go. Okay. So I guess, do we want to try to find a time in early January? This is pending no snow that we can actually see things, right? But I know for me, if it doesn't end up on my calendar, it doesn't happen. So that's
Me
the only
too.
I could be swayed next week, either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday as well during the day, just because I have a little bit of more flexibility. But other than that, after that, I would have to do a weekend.
Um, what days did you say, Courtney?
I could do Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week. Otherwise I'd have to do like a weekend late, after that.
I'm tempted. So the 26th, 27th, or 28th?
Yeah. 28th would be possibly a little hard. I may need to be on a call at some point during that day, but it's around 11 if that happens.
What about the 27th?
I usually have that on, yeah.
Yeah, I think I might be able to take the 27th off.
Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna do the morning, I think that would be good.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to try to do like a 8 or 9 a.m. walk?
Okay.
Okay.
December 27th.
Jody, do we have to post for it if 3 of us are together on a site walk?
Yeah. Well, we're not gonna be deliberating.
Yeah, really.
No, I just wanted to make sure I asked, that's all.
We used to do that with the planning board, but we just wouldn't talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
I would say probably not, because I'm almost positive before there was a conservation agent, conservation used to do it, they didn't post. Because it's not a meeting, you're not taking votes or anything, you're gonna report back. It's
Yeah.
almost like information gathering.
Okay. Okay, do you guys have a time preference?
9 is good.
9 is good.
So 9 a.m. Tuesday, do you want to meet at 1 Park Close start? Or do you want to meet somewhere and then drive around to them?
Or do you want to, no, we can meet at one location. Why don't we meet at, well, let's meet at the Wallace Hill place.
Yeah, the Wallace Hill one or the Haynes side. Either one.
Either one.
If you would like, and I can be very nice, is that you can park in my driveway on the Wallace Hill one if you'd like, and we can go.
We'll discuss that offline.
Yeah.
But we can get direct access in there if you would like to park it off. So,
Okay, that's good.
and if you don't mind a dog, she'd be so happy to come for.
Offline.
All right, 9 a.m. Tuesday morning, we'll take a walk.
Okay.
Great. Any other discussions for now on those?
No.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just gonna grab my agenda again. Let's see here. Okay, so we talked about 2.2.1, and we already talked about 2.3, which is the MBTA community design. So I'm going to go ahead to 2.4 on the correspondence and clerk's announcements. I think we just had the letter of resignation, right?
Letter of resignation, and then I had a bills payable for the NAHRO. And the only thing on that is, I don't know if you want to just make a motion to have Chaz sign off on it, because he's probably going to be in the building.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Make a motion to approve the payment of $175 for that membership fee and have Chaz sign off on it for the board.
Great. Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Natalie Call, yes.
Laura Schifrin, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
And Courtney Riley, yes. Great. And then we've got 2.5 approved meeting minutes from 10/25/22.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as emailed to us for October 25th, 2022.
Second, please.
A second.
Roll call vote.
Natalie Call, yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
Can I just ask something, Chaz? On those minutes, there's a comment in your report about, is it DHCD? I don't have it in front of me, but I read it earlier.
Yes.
It's
You had a meeting or planning to have a meeting with somebody?
I reached out I had an appointment to have a conversation to set a meeting, which I did. And they're waiting until the first of the year, and we'll set a time for our meeting when we have a meeting in January.
Okay. I was just following up on that when I saw it.
Hmm.
Laura Schifrin, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Natalie.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought I did. That's all right.
That's okay.
Damn.
Do we want to set our next meeting date beyond our site walk?
Okay.
Do we want to go back to our Thursdays?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's good with me.
The 19th.
That
Yep.
works.
Yep, that works for me too.
Laura? Does that work?
I don't think I have any appointments.
Okay.
Yeah, on Zoom. What was the date again?
January 19th.
Thursday.
Oh, yeah, I'll still be here.
Great. So we'll report back to you on our site visits then, Lori, and hopefully have something to show you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
I make a
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Merry
Great.
Christmas.
Everybody good?
Yep.